he was going after like you'd say, a cop for trespass. So the county, they call it a council over there, wanted to be named as a defendant in the case. So Bali starts going nuts, saying, no, this is my case, and only man can appear, blah, blah, blah. So then he called me up after it was all over, and I said to him, what happened? And he said, well, an attorney, they call them barristers, wanted to have the county appear as a defendant. And I went bananas saying, no, only man appears, it's claim, blah, blah, blah. And I said to him, wait a second, somebody wanted to be a defendant? I said, a defendant just sits there and just takes a beating, right? A defendant is not a prosecutor. A defendant just goes backwards or stands still, but it doesn't come forward. And you wouldn't accept a defendant? I said, are you kidding? Somebody who also, accepts that they've done wrong? Somebody who's admitting that they're a defendant? I said, and you wouldn't accept them into your case? What, are you crazy? And he says, what? I said, look, he says they're not a man. I said, well, let me see. If Santa Claus wanted to say that he's a defendant because he trespassed on my property on Christmas Eve, I'd allow him and I'd entertain his claim that he's a defendant and he's done me wrong. If the Tooth Fairy came and said, well, I trespassed on your property 32 times by leaving money under there for your kids, I'll accept that the Tooth Fairy wants to be also named as a defendant of the wrong, of a trespass. Why in God's name would you not allow somebody to claim to be a defendant? I said, are you kidding me? I said, everybody's always trying to avoid being a defendant. So they wanted to be added in as a defendant? Lovely. I said, there's just not much more to go after. I said, but obviously if it comes down to like 5, 10, 50,000 defendants, obviously you could only take one on at a time. And you could tell the court, well, look, honestly, I don't have the resources at the time to battle 50 defendants, but I will entertain one at a time. I said, that you could have done instead of making a big deal out of it. I said, you could have accepted them as a defendant into your case. Lovely. Anybody wants to join the party? Who wants to join the party? Oh, okay. A county? Oh, great. A county has deep pockets. Definitely let them come in as a party. They got money to blow and you could sue and claim. God bless them. Accept
are
them.
They're admitting to being subordinate to you?
Well, the defendant, yeah, they're willing to become a party to the court to make he made a claim of trespass. And if they're saying, well, we're also trespassers. If this cop's a trespasser, we're a trespasser. Well, good. Anybody else wants to make a claim they're a trespasser? Does Gandhi want to claim it? Does Buddha want to claim it? Does Santa Claus want to claim it? Tooth Fairy? Anybody else wants to say that they trespassed upon my property? I'll entertain all fucking defendants' claims that they've done me wrong. There's just that more pockets you could go after. I said, well, what are you kidding? He's like, oh, well, I just wanted man to appear. I was like, so what? I said, what if Santa Claus wanted to appear? Just accept them all. If a man wants to say that his name is Santa Claus or Tooth Fairy or San Bernardino County, God bless him if that's what he wants to call himself. I don't give a damn. I said to him, you're just not getting into the game. I said, it's just a game. And I said, you're getting very upset. And he says, I filed it on my dad's behalf because it was my dad's farm. I said, okay. I said, and he said he tried to talk in court. And the court asked him, who are you? And he's like, he's a Balaraj man. It's like, well, that's not the name. Bashim is the name on a claim. Who are you to Bashim? He's like, I'm his son, and I'm going to speak for him. And the judge was like, no, you're not. And I said to Bala, I said, what did you do? He said, well, then I threw a hissy fit. I walked out of the courtroom. I went to the court clerk. I told him that they were, trespassing on my case, that they were not doing as I wished. And the court clerk actually walked into the courtroom and said, this man said that you trespassed on his case. So Bali made a 3-ring circus out of it. I said to Bali, when the judge said that you're not recognized as a claimant that Bashim is, all you had to do is, what did the other side do? The other side wanted to be recognized as a defendant, bring another defendant on board. Bashim, I said, Bali, all you had to do was tell the court that you want the court to take notice that there's another claimant on board, that you've also been affected by the trespass, that you want to be a claimant as well. That's all you had to do. He said, Bali, I could have went to court. I said, I wish to be known by the court as a claimant as well. To the trespass. I said, what's the big deal? Why didn't you say that you wish to be recognized by the court as a claimant as well? He said, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, what you guys are doing, you guys have one-track minds. If it doesn't work this way, in the exact way that you wanted it to work or expected it to work, you guys go crazy. It's like if a girl rejects you, and because you was like, wait a second, Carl, I bought her cards, I bought her candy, I bought her flowers, I wrote her a poem. I took her out to dinner and I took her to a movie, and she still don't love me. Like, yeah, try this. But it's like, oh, Carl, this is too much. I was like, okay, anything that's worth, winning or doing is worth, keep pursuing it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's what they're going to do. They're going to make a man out of you. They're going to see if you I'm just going to say, you know what? That's all I can do. Cards, candy, flower, poem. That's all I can do. Is that it? Yes. What more does she want from me? How about taking her to a dinner theater? How about taking her to a play? How about taking her to an opera? It's like, oh, hell no, I'm not going through all that. Well, then good. Don't. Just stop and just say, okay, she's not worth pursuing. I said, or you're going to learn how to be a man. They're not going to make this easy, that every schmo coming off the street is going to win the first time out of the box. They're not going to do this. Well, all you people are going to line up by the millions, and all you guys are going to say, oh, I want money for my birth certificate or something like that. Oh, yeah, we all want $1 million. Okay, let's all write everybody out $1 million check. Oh, why? Because we funneled in this form. We did exactly what this guru told us to do. And now we're all millionaires. That's like that 1099 OID crowd. People calling me up from federal prison saying that we did everything that they wanted us to. We filled out all the forms, and now we're all going to jail.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that. You filled out all the forms, and now you're all going to jail. You just laugh.
So did Bali, well, that was today that Bali did that?
Yes. So I said to Bali, what do you do? What do you do now? He's like, oh, I'm not sure. I said, you file an amended claim. Oh. And you add your dad, you and your dad now are co-claimants. That's all. Now there's another claimant on board. Yay. I said, Bali, okay. You and I, are working on the same piece of ground on planet Earth. You're digging a tunnel one side, I'm digging a tunnel on the other side. We meet in the middle. You find gold, I find gold. We're both going to go into court and make a claim that we both found gold, and we're going to cooperate. We're not going to say, I found it before you did. We both touched it at the same time. We all laugh, ha-ha. We're co-claimants. What's the problem, Bali, being a co-claimant? He's like, oh, I never thought about it. I said, right. So all you're going to do is go back to court tomorrow, apologize for being a punk, for being a spoiled little brat, instead of acting like a man, and just saying, oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget to have the court take notice that there's another claimant here as well? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I fail to give proper notice to the court? I said, Bali, all you had to do is when the judge was saying, I don't see you as a claimant. It's like, oh, really? You don't? Can I see that paper that you have in front of you? Yes. Then write your name down on it and hand it back. Now do you see me as a claimant on there? And then the judge will say, oh, now I see you. Okay, thank you. That's all you had to do on a lawsuit. Say to the judge, what's the lawsuit you got in front of your hand? Here it is, Bashim Man versus Barry Rose. Oh, okay. Here, let me see that. Can I see that? Yeah.
Would they let you see it? Would the judge hand it over and let you see it?
Of course he would. He'd say, let me see the lawsuit that you got. Maybe it doesn't match mine. Let me see. Okay, here, well, I'm going to add myself as a claimant. Here you go. I'm going to modify the claim. Here's Bashim Man. Here's my dad. Dad, do you mind me object me to modifying your claim? He'd be like, nope, I like you being a co-claimant. I was like, okay. And there you go. I said, Bali, would have taken you 2 seconds. I said, Bali, see, that's what I would have said. Why didn't you just call me up when you were getting stumped in court? I would have told you, just go in there, ask him, can I see the claim that's filed before the court? And I said, okay. And I said, oh, yeah, now I see the problem. Oh, here, Dad, this is your claim right here. You object to me adding myself as a co-claimant? Oh, no, I don't mind. Okay, good. And then the court would have just recognized you as a co-claimant, and then you would have had standing, and you would have been a party, and you would have had a voice in the matter. How tough is this, Bali? Instead of running around like a little, rejected little boy, and squealing that this isn't fair. They won't let me talk. I'm getting railroaded again. This is my case. They won't let me do what I want. I said, you know, this is what I hear from 100% of the people when it doesn't go their way. I said, well, wait a second, Bali. Whose name was on there as the claimant? Well, it was my dad, Bashim. I said, okay. Well, what makes you think that Bali should be able to talk? Well, you know, it's Bashim's case, and did Bashim say, did your dad say he wants you to talk? No, you said you want to talk to your dad. How do they know it's not like a husband and wife, and a wife is, or just say some man goes to court, and all of a sudden you start talking to me, Bali. The court has a duty not to recognize you, Bali, because maybe the reason why I'm moving this claimant to the court is because you're holding my children at knife point, and you're forcing me to move a claimant to the court. And you're forcing me to accept you as a co-claimant. Maybe I don't want to make a claim. Maybe I don't want a co-claimant. Maybe I don't want to be here. The court doesn't know why you're talking for your dad, why you're putting words in his mouth. Is he being forced? Is he being coerced? Is he not competent? Is he has Alzheimer's disease? Why are you speaking for him? You better have a damn good reason. And you just started squealing, well, that's what my dad wants. Oh, really? I didn't hear him say that.
So what's the plan? Is he going to go back in there tomorrow or what? Where are you? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just feeding some of the animals over here. No, but what I'm trying to say to people is when it doesn't go exactly the way you guys want it the first time, you guys also, like I said, even Polly, he's a good little guy. And he's trying really hard, and he's been studying stuff like crazy. And I said, then why don't you just give the court notice that now a co-claimant is now before the court? Why don't you just introduce yourself in a proper manner, just like I did on Friday the 13th back in December? They didn't know who I was. There was no paperwork before the court introducing me. So I've seen that you will refuse to appear in person as a defendant. You only want to appear as a man, and they only have control and jurisdiction over a person. So I had to introduce myself to the court, and I had to stand up and say, may I aid and assist this court? And they said, and who are you? I said, may I introduce myself? And they said, yes, you may. And then I introduced myself. I said, I'm a friend of the defendants who refuse to appear in person. And I believe they will appear in person if this will aid and assist you, if you will also recognize their capacity to stand in this court as a man. You do see that there's a claim before this court at this time, do you not? And they said, yes. And the man files the claim. This is the man. But he will appear in person as a defendant if you recognize that he is a man. And then the court clerk lady, the lady who was introducing everybody, said, I'll ask the judge. And she talked to the judge. And the judge said to her, fine, we'll accept his appearance before the court. Then the judge spoke up to me. He says, yes, now introduce yourself properly to this court. I said to Polly, why don't you just introduce yourself properly to the court? I said, why don't you talk to this judge and this magistrate? Why didn't you, when you went to court today, why didn't you just talk to them like you were introducing yourself to your girlfriend's mom or your girlfriend's grandma for the first time? Would you be all Nancy boy and say, you must recognize me, you have to see me, I am her girlfriend? They'll say, well, why are you talking for her? Can't she talk for herself? No. This is my kid. What's her grandma going to think of you? What's her mama going to think of you? They said, you're going to have to introduce yourself to court in a proper manner, respectful, polite, cordial, courteously.